and girls. So, part 2 of my sword vlog series as I build this monstrosity. I am buggered. I hadn't fallen out a sword before, so I had done a test, which you probably saw a while back on my social media, and built a fullering tool for the sexy new Bruce Beamish anvil that I've got. This little delicate number. And it worked really well. I was really happy with how that test came out. So I was all about to get on it and do the rest of the sword. But I was helping my grandfather wrestle a bull calf into submission so that it could actually be neutered. I guess you'd call it castrated. And he'd let it get a little bit bigger than it probably should have been, and it was huge to wrestle with. I'm a big guy, but if you've ever wrestled a bull, you'll know they're just solid muscle. Anyway, during the process of doing that, I actually sprained both biceps, and it wasn't until the pain of that subsided that I realized I actually sprained something in the back of my neck as well. So I thought I'll do some light forging. Once that started getting a little bit better, I'll do some light forging and knock out some Etsy orders, and it put me up for even longer. So I was dreading actually forging out the entirety of the sword, because forging a sword is no small task. I don't care how manly you want to be about it. Forging swords is a workout, especially like Viking swords. Viking swords are hefty swords. Not as big as some, but they're chunky boys. But I spent the day doing it, and after 3 hours I managed to forge it out. It's nice and straight. This is forge finished, by the way. No grinding yet, but edge alignments more or less on point. A little tiny bit of wave, but the edge is still probably about 2.5 mil thick all the way along it, so gives me a lot of room to neaten up the bevel. So you can see the fullering all the way down the center, nice and clean considering it's forge finished. So that'll be cleaned up quite a bit once it enters the grinding room. But this thing out of the fire is a beast. No balance to it yet because there's no pole or handle to counterbalance this, but it is 1.2 kilos fresh out of the fire. The tang is still about 8 mil thick, and as you've probably already noticed, about 1 inch longer than it needs to be. Better to have more tang than too little. It's about 2 inches, or just over 2 inches wide at the base. You'll see there's a bit of fish lipping here. This is actually going to be trued up and squared up using a lovely Creative Man file guide, which also work on swords. And then we can start getting to work on the handle of this monster. It's already cool. It's one of the coolest things I've ever made, and I'm super stoked with how it is coming out. Still a lot more work to go, trust me on that. But it is coming out pretty special. Luckily, I still have plenty of time on this, because this weekend, in fact 2 days away from recording this video, I have a really big Damascus making session planned using the new forge press. So that's going to be getting a workout to make all of the Damascus that I need for the handle. So once that Damascus is sort of roughed in, I'm going to be building a wooden sort of mock-up of the handle that is actually accurate and to scale of all of the different parts, because as we talked about last video, there are a lot of parts to this very complex handle. But before I can actually fit the handle, I need to grind this, true it up, get everything down to its closer dimensions. It's basically the first grinding pass is going to be neatening it all before heat treatment, and then there'll be post heat treatment grinding and finishing. So yeah, that's the plan. Get this neatened up, ground, looking pretty, wooden mock-up of the handle, and making the raw materials for the handle. Once the raw materials are done, the rest of the work for this thing is going to be done in the handle. It was always going to be the most complex and difficult part of this build, This is actually, despite the amount of work that went into forging this out by hand, I might add. I don't have a power hammer. Forging this out by hand, this was a lot of work, but ultimately it was about 3 hours of forging to do this. Making the handle is going to be days and days and days of work, because it is intricate, as you saw in the last video. But it is all coming together swimmingly. I thought I'd give you an update, especially since I've been working on so many other things that I haven't put out a new video on my channel for a while. But I do have a special one coming, which you need to keep an eye out for, because the next video you see after this one is actually going to be part of a collaboration. You noticed that I got my new anvil recently from Bruce Beamish, and I am actually doing the ad for it, like a video ad. And you don't often get to see my past life where I used to do music videos, direct and edit music videos, and do a lot of CG work and stuff like that. And I'm working on a particularly cool ad. It's coming along really well. It's looking really, really sweet, and it features me. And the best looking cast member, the anvil. So I hope you like that when it comes out. It's not going to have much extra explanation to it. It's not going to have any intros or anything. It's just going to be the ad, because let me tell you, nothing will test an anvil out like forging a sword on it. And this thing, like about 20 minutes before I recorded this, Bruce actually messaged me and he said, "Oh, I thought I'd check in and see how you are liking it, because I've been watching you make a sword on it, and that's no small that's no small amount of forging." And he wanted genuine feedback on it, and to be honest, I couldn't find any faults with it. I haven't yet found anything that I dislike about it. I really, really believe in it. I don't talk about products that I don't believe in, but getting to make an ad for it, it's going to be a really fun project, or so far it's a fun project. And actually, once I finish videoing this, I'm going to be videoing more of it. I've been waiting for a still day. The transition of seasons in Tasmania is quite violent, and wind has been rampant here, like 60km/h winds plus. And you can't run a coal forge in 60km/h winds. And just for the sake of the artistry, and because I have one, I want the coal forge to be the forge featured in this video. So I've done all of the shooting that has not required a coal forge and hidden the fact that it is blowing a gale. But now I'm going to take advantage of the fact that it is relatively still and film the parts that require the coal forge. So that's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, hope you're all doing super well. My patrons are really, really helping during this time, because taking the time to make a sword build is taking time away from a lot of other builds. And yeah, having those patrons helping out is awesome and a huge weight off my shoulders. So each and every one of them are awesome, gorgeous people, and they'll be shouted out at the end of this video. For everything else, check me out on all the social media. You know the links, they're all in the description below. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.